Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language and Canal the International. I'm called Maureen Z. We begin with our top stories. Motorbike riders in Marwa have been restricted from circulating after 10 p.m. The decision was taken by administrative authorities following repeated cases of mob justice on motorbikes or those suspected to have stolen motorbikes. And the roads along the over 6 kilometer long Fundi Canal has received light. This has brightened the stretch of road which lately had become fertile ground for attacks, leaving the residents around the area in total insecurity. And the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and national and international community met this April 27 in the nation's political capital as the Central African Sub-Regional Refugee Conference to join hands and seek concrete and durable solutions on refugees management. Those are major stories. Details right ahead.
Canal International.
Good evening once more. Motorbike riders in Marwa in the far north region of Cameroon have been restricted from circulating after 10 p.m. The decision was taken by administrative authorities following repeated cases of mob justice on motorbikes or those suspected to have stolen motorbikes. More in the following story with our reporter, Regina Leketandak.
This gory image shows a man burned to death by the population in Marwa. He is just one of several victims of a repeated case of mob justice that has become recurrent. We have to put an end to violence we are witnessing today in Marwa. No one has the right to kill another person. It is not because someone stole or someone was violent that you have to go ahead and kill the person. Only a judge has the right to sentence someone to death. The latest mob justice case took place in the heart of the town of Domayo Marwa at the popular Boulevard du Renouveau. A man beaten and burned to death, suspected to have stolen a motorbike. Worried about the situation, the senior divisional officer for Diamari brought together his team to find lasting solutions. Amongst different resolutions arrived at this meeting is restrictions on the circulation of motorbikes. Motorbike riders themselves suffer violence. Their motorbikes are seized from them and they are stabbed to death. After several consultations, we have decided to ban the circulation of motorbikes after 10 p.m. For their own safety, the men on two wheels will have to avoid walking on late night in order to avoid being victims of mob justice.
And the road along the 6 kilometer along Fundi Canal has received light. This has brightened the stretch of road which lately had become a fertile ground for attacks, leaving the residents around the zone in total security. More on the story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
The Fundi Canal has received its light, and from far distance, one can clearly see the about 7 kilometer bright stretch of road. The lights have just been put in place, an answer to another cry of constant aggressions, attacks, and many along the road. What brought the city mayor to this other solution, as the stretch of road had become a fertile ground for numerous atrocities. Security, the city mayor believes, will return as light drives away all who love to walk in the dark like thieves and crooks.
Pour que ces ouvrages puissent être bien sécurisés.
While saluting the technicians for the job well done, Luc Messi Atangana made this appeal to the beneficiaries, that is the residents, to watch and guard that the lights are well secured and not before acts of vandalism as noticed at times.
Que la sécurité règne déjà dans cette zone, puisque l'éclairage éloigne tous ceux qui aiment évoluer dans l'ombre.
The night is coming also after the construction of the canal some years back. That helped to solve the problems of waterborne diseases, malaria, typhoid, and floods, the numerous health risks that was almost a daily cry of the residents of the zones along the Mfundi waters. 70% of the financial and technical support comes from the French Development Bank, AFD, working with a local company.
And the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, National and International Community met this April 27 in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, at the Central African Sub-Regional Refugee Conference to join hands and see concrete and durable solutions on refugees management. The ceremony chaired by Cameroon's Prime Minister. More on the story with our reporter, Hyacinth Chia.
Finding solutions on the Central African Republic conflicts and helping refugees from these civil wars is the reason that brought together the national and international community this Wednesday at the Yaoundé Conference Center. The 2013, 2017 and 2020 conflicts in the Central African Republic has registered about 1/3 of the country's population displaced both internally and to neighboring countries like Chad, Congo, Sudan and Cameroon alone harboring over 48% of the total number of refugees from the Central African Republic living freely in refugee camps and within different towns.
The aim of this conference is to create a positive regional dynamic in the search of solutions to Central African refugees. Since 2017, the tone has been set with the launch of the facilitation of the voluntary repatriation of those refugees from some neighboring countries.
According to Filippo Grandi, efforts are constantly made and mechanisms will be adopted during this conference to help refugees coming from all corners of Africa.
This must be done through a large alliance of governments, aid communities, businesses, development actors, civil society, private sector groups, and crucially, the refugees themselves.
The opening of the refugee conference this April 27, presided over by the Cameroon Prime Minister Joseph John Gote on behalf of President Paul Biya, who urged the participants to give in an open ear and come up with concrete solutions for the better management of millions of refugees within the Central African sub-region, in line with the 2008 World Accord on Refugees.
An awareness campaign for families and communities on the education of children with disabilities, a name will ring the bell for these 2022, has been launched by the Minister of Social Affairs this April 27 in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The initiative is to encourage parents to send children with disability to school and to encourage the schools concerned to be well equipped. More in the following story.
The sounds of bells, whistles and vuvuzelas by the officials and school children, clarion call for families, communities, all actors to promote inclusive education. A national cry as all children have the right to go to school, including children with disabilities.
When children of the same age are going to school with their peers who have some disability, without marginalization, they have the possibility to acquire skills and knowledge without any other problems, to make sure that all children, including those with disability, can go to school and have the same education.
High time, therefore, to overcome the numerous barriers, create an enabling environment for these children with disabilities to strive amidst laxity, seclusion on the parts of their families, and adapting the school with their needs.
Even the assistive equipment that they need is not available. Children that do not see do not have a braille machine. Also, those that do not hear do not have those assistive equipment that can help them. The worst of all is the environment is not enabling for children with disabilities.
Initiative started by a denominational health service are now embraced by the government for perfect implementation.
In addition, the ministries of basic education, secondary education and higher education have also adopted it, and we feel really very happy that this is happening in Cameroon.
The launch of the We Ring the Bell 2022 campaign by the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irengene, this Wednesday, spiced sketches and dance the green light for the rest of the country.
Of the Boom subdivision in the northwest region of Cameroon have intensified sensitization for schools to reopen in their community following the degeneration of the Anglophone crisis. Most schools, the Boom subdivision shut down meeting in Bafoussam. Recently, Boom elites have begun mobilizing students and teachers to get back to school this academic year. More in the following story.
They all came from different parts of Cameroon and the world, sons and daughters of the Boom community, converging in a mini-congress at the Governor's Lodge in Bafoussam to seek mechanisms of sending children back to school within the Boom subdivision, Boyo division of the Northwest region, highly grounded by the socio-political crisis.
It has been a burden to us Boom people that for 5 good years, our children have not experienced school going.
Here we have taken a very, very powerful declaration. A declaration where all of us have vowed and we have declared that come September 2022, all our children back in the village must go back to school. All our schools back in the village must be reopened.
The sensitization campaign, highly lauded by Governor Awafonka Augustine, who lamented over the ignorance of keeping children away from school for a couple of years, with glaring consequences thereafter.
This issue shall come to pass. And when it ends, the question is, they will start asking people to present their certificates. You will not present your gun. This is the gun that I used in the last 5 years or 7 years. Nobody will listen to you.
The Boom elite challenged parents to shun fear and take all necessary measures to get the kids back to the classroom come September.
And brothers and sisters who are against this issue, please, without our children going to school, it is a mess for our generation. In the next 20 years, Boom will not exist if there is no education. And so we should do everything to send these children back to school.
It was equally an occasion to reawaken the Boom population on the need to fully get engaged into local development initiatives of the community, with some major projects completely shattered by the crisis. They come together on Saturday, April 23rd, was also an opportunity to communion with their rich and diverse culture.
For the job fair has opened in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, to coach youths on the different measures to feed themselves into different opportunities. The fair at its 10th edition announces lots of inventions, especially with the digital area. Take a listen to the following exit.
Edition of the job fair is for us an opportunity to present the local opportunity, the job local opportunity, and also professional training for youth here in Yaoundé, but also out in Yaoundé.
Our economy is totally interconnected with the economies of the world, or the African economy. So it's important to change the mind of the young people. Tell them that we have to work together to succeed and to improve Cameroon economy.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19h50 with Alain Gislain Kanga. But coming up next we have a Champions League that will be coming up next. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.